Hi, friends. My name's Host Eric. I'm live streaming right now because there's not really anything else I can do. They won't let me into the emergency room at the hospital because of COVID protocols. Rachel's in the emergency room right now because her persistent symptoms that she's had since the day after Christmas or whatever due to unexpected drug interactions, basically, just sort of took it up a notch. So when we had seen the RN about it anyway, she said, if you experience any incontinence, go to the hospital, go to the emergency room. So we did. She did experience that this morning, and this is new. It's a new phenomenon related to the same symptoms, which persist to be very stroke-like, kind of limited capacity to use her hands and her feet and being wobbly and stuff. I mean, we've she's been off the SSRI now for 3+ weeks, and the symptoms have persisted beyond that. But what's concerning is that what would normally be considered a symptom of the worst stage of it emerged as a new thing today. It was sufficient for us to take her to the emergency room, and they won't let me in, so I'm here. I mean, it's been several weeks since she's taken the Prozac, so I mean, in her case, yeah, she needed to stop cold turkey because all indicators were serotonin syndrome, and it's an SSRI. It's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So obviously, if you're poisoned by too much serotonin, even though what the psychiatrist said was, even though the withdrawal symptoms from the fluoxetine might be uncomfortable in some ways, they're not dangerous. Whereas the symptoms from serotonin syndrome are. And I've been surprised at how long the symptoms have persisted. I've been surprised at how they haven't really dramatically gotten better, and particularly. And well, I'm worried, so I'm here because there's nothing I can do. It's like I can't enjoy anything while being worried about how she is at the emergency room because I can't be there. Um, I don't. I told her to call me when she gets to a point when she's talking to the doctor or whatever, because the thing is, the psychiatrist had recommended I ask the RN about a couple of specific drugs that were anti-serotonin drugs a couple of weeks ago, and I showed the RN that email from the doctor, but I guess I thought that comprised adequately me asking about it, and she didn't prescribe those drugs. I should have pushed harder on that issue, and I regret not doing so because, since then I've been thinking maybe she should take one of those anti-serotonin drugs or whatever. But I don't know. It's like the symptoms she's experiencing aren't even really consistent with serotonin syndrome symptoms. So it's all very scary and worrisome. And well, I mean, the thing is, he is an LA doctor. I could take her down there to see him. We have a remote appointment on the 4th February, but well, I mean, since the nurse practitioner said specifically, if you are if she experiences incontinence, take her to the emergency room. Well, that's what we did. Uh, I tried to we tried to contact the shrink today, but he's very busy today. He can't deal with our situation, and his assistant said go ahead and take her to the emergency room. So that's where we took her. But like I said, they won't let me go in there with her. I figured at the very least she could have a live stream to listen to while while stuck in the emergency room. And sure enough, here she is tuning in. So we are very hopeful that, you know, whoever sees Rachel in the emergency room will reference the psychiatrist's email and administer one of the two drugs he recommended and fix the problem, you know. That's what we're hopeful. Um, so, anyway, you know, they have this separate outside waiting section for people with COVID symptoms. There were two people sitting there. Two people. Just FYI, everyone's eye. So the thing is, I continue to believe that this will go away, you know? Like, that these symptoms will go away and she will go back to, at some point, you know, probably needing to take the SSRI again. But the thing to note is she's she's not taking the Prozac and is perfectly sane. So something's changed in her brain, at least temporarily, right? That makes it such that she doesn't need that serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And the most logical explanation for that is she's still got too much serotonin in her. She's also sleeping her ass off, you know. Being very SI, incorporating a lot of SI into her ways. So, you know, because I have to come back here and wait, because I can't be there and wait with her and feel like I have any control over the situation. So I have no choice but to come here and talk about fretting about things, because it's not like I can enjoy doing anything else either, because I'm fretting about Rachel too much. So, and Rachel's the opposite of an alarmist about this the whole time. It's like I said in the previous stream. She's a trooper, I'm a baby. Yeah, we are positivists, but it's important to remember, Peter didn't teach you, and this is probably the most important thing to remember, is the nature of the thing misled both of our knowledge functions. Which is to say, because it's an escape velocity kind of thing, you're fine until you reach this point, and then you hit the waterfall, right? Every test we had indicated it was fine, because we weren't experiencing any symptoms here, right? Until you hit the top, and then phew. So both intuition and experience were telling us everything's fine. There's nothing to be worried about. So it's not just being a positivist. It's the funky nature of the thing, right? So it's like, sure, you can be somebody who's constantly worried about everything all the time, or you can use reasonable heuristics to deal with reality. We were using reasonable heuristics to deal with reality, and unfortunately, it it wasn't. It didn't prove to be a wise course of action. But regardless, I still remain confident that this lesson will end up having been learned and behind us, you know. It's scary that the symptoms persist for so long that they're not like taking a consistently gradual declining arc. They're kind of up and down, and that it's over 3 weeks. Because I would expect with the half life of the Prozac that this would be fixed in about 3 weeks. It's been a couple of days more than 3 weeks now, and now she has the most serious symptom of it 3 weeks after is really weird. So, you know, I'm hoping they give her one of the 2 drugs the psychiatrist recommended and that it works and it puts an end to this whole slabtacular affair. It's very slabby. Everything's super slabby about it. It's full of lessons and relevance are across the board. Well, yeah. Obviously, Peter didn't teach you. We hope for the best, um, and acknowledge that it might be worse. It might be worse, but uh, most importantly, is the takeaway here is that Peter didn't teach his smugness throughout this whole matter, and odd sense of entitlement has been really not helpful. That's the most important takeaway, perhaps. So, hopefully there's a lesson in here for Peter and Tichi as well about appropriate times to play I Told You So. And the necessary prerequisites in order to be able to say I told you so, which is to say you can't throw a shit ton of random shit against the wall, happen to be right about one or two things, and expect the person to then be accountable for having listened to you when it's all mostly bullshit you throw against the wall. As I've explained, it doesn't work like that. It's not that It's not that I'm accountable for failing to listen to you. It's that you're accountable for mixing your one bit of truth in with so much bullshit. As I've indicated. So knock it off. Yeah, you are. And the point is, of course, that there will always be blame to potentially direct. You can direct it at me if you want. To the extent that blame is there to be a sign, I'm certainly not blameless. But my point is, sometimes unforeseen fucked upness occurs. And most of the time, it's possible to posit that it should have been foreseen or could have been foreseen. But there are limits to that, Oh, there's that guy I was telling you about, Rachel. Your stalker or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna hide him. This is a totally inappropriate time for you to be fucking with us. That guy has left us a series of really nasty messages about Rachel, intending to, I guess, hurt my feelings and Rachel's feelings. But I've deleted most of them. I responded to one of them, and then I regretted even responding to it. I thought I should have just hit that guy right away. Oh no, it was fine to hesitate. You didn't know the history of it. No, he recently left a few really nasty comments, really like ugly, kind of hateful kind of comments, and you can see what kind of person he is, right? It's like this is an actual topic of serious consideration. Um, anyway, I'm worried about Rachel. That's why I'm live streaming because I don't know what else to do with myself, basically. Definitely not an instance when any decent human being would choose to interject their spiteful, hateful, whatever. You know. In any regard, that's life. You know. Sometimes you get some people who are really broken, and then usually, of course, they take it out on everybody else, right? Regardless, I'm not concerned about. You'd think, Dallas. You'd think. But it's like she's super poisoned, you know? That's the bottom line. Is Rachel is super poisoned right now. And it's really scary because you expect those that's kind of fade over time. You know, she had her kidneys and livers tested, and they're basically both fine. She's got uh, elevated elevated liver enzymes, but not to a degree that is particularly remarkable. Um, and you know, she passed all the basic tests that they gave her to start out with flying colors. I mean, she's experiencing the symptoms of being poisoned, right? She's got tingling fingers. She like her hands don't quite work right. Tingling in her toes and in her feet. Um, Experiencing numbness in parts of her body. She's serotonin poisoned. She's experiencing serotonin toxicity. I think that's what everything suggests anyway. And I should have pushed for that nurse practitioner to prescribe one of those drugs 2 weeks ago. But it's like I'm not accustomed to. I just. I mean, I wouldn't let that shit happen again. But like always, sometimes I have to make a mistake to. It would happen so fast, right? This nurse practitioner rolls in, and she's ESTJing up the joint, and I'm trying to get a prognosis. I mean, a diagnosis nailed down. Um, Not even onto the prognosis part yet, and I'm not really thinking about like, okay, if it definitely is that serotonin syndrome, then we can just wait for it to go away because that's what all the stuff says, and it's like I don't know. I've been trying to deal with this as best I could since it first occurred to me, oh shit, Rachel's got serotonin syndrome, um, and it's like it's hard for me to know what to do besides just say, well, we got to wait it off or wait it out, I guess, you know. But I'm glad she's currently at the emergency room. I figure that if anything gets, you know, seriously threatening to her well-being, life, health, whatever, that she's in the right place, right? They should be able to take whatever emergency measures they need to take to take care of her. And I'm hopeful that she emerges uh, having gotten a shot of one of those two drugs and feeling very shortly thereafter substantially better. That's what I'm hoping. That's best case scenario, you know. But I won't know until I know. And that's why I'm live streaming. Because I hate not knowing things I need to know how I need to feel about something. I can't do anything until I know that Rachel's safe, because it's too FI alarming, you know? So I just have to sit here and chat with you guys, because otherwise I just sit here by myself and fail to watch something, you know? I'd be trying to pay attention to something, but I'd be unable to pay attention to it because I'd be fretting. At least now I can dump all my fretting onto you guys. Well, the same thing has been wrong with her. She's got serotonin syndrome, apparently, except she experienced a sudden worsening of syndromes, specifically a syndrome, symptoms, I mean. Specifically a symptom that the nurse practitioner told us, if we see that, take her to the hospital, namely incontinence. It's it's been an odd kind of tidal flow of symptoms. Sometimes seeming to recede a bit for times, and then sometimes coming back stronger, and it's hard to know. Oh, she doesn't think it's serotonin syndrome based on your symptoms. Well, it is true that what a fucking asshole, right? Jesus Christ. What a horrible person. So what does she think the problem is? Did you do you explain to the doctor that you're not on your SSRI, which you formerly needed to do? Okay. So does she have an alternate diagnosis? Make sure you indicate to the doctor that Rachel's probably not listening to this, so I should probably type it. Make sure you point out not needing the Prozac. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear about it. Do you like this doctor? Is she cool, or is she being a country without a re? I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of weird factors that make it hard for us to pin this down. They say it may be an infection. Maybe it's that disease that I said the symptoms match more what your symptoms are. It's called. Okay, good. I'm glad, Rachel. I'm glad that they're doing something to check this thing out and fix it. And I mean, talk about an asshole, right? The thing is, it's not inconceivable this could be life threatening, and that person tries to take glee in that. What an awful human being. You know, that's a truly despicable human being. Anyway, I'm not gonna let that take up too much of my attention. No, I'm not a despicable human being, baby Phoebe. Sorry. Actually, I love and care for Rachel a great deal, and and I'm worried about her, obviously, and you know, she's 37 and I'm 50, and you want to make me out to be some sort of cradle robber, but it doesn't really fly. That'd be so strange. This had nothing at all to do with serotonin. I mean, the thing is, I still can't explain. I wouldn't be able to explain why Rachel doesn't need any more SSRIs all of a sudden. I've been worried maybe she shouldn't be taking the olanzapine or something, which I've read in plenty of sources that Klonopin they'd use specifically to treat the symptoms of serotonin syndrome, so I figured that's probably fine. But I haven't gotten that much specificity regarding the other drug. The psychiatrist said to keep taking it, but yeah, come on in.
Okay, so what's with the patient?
Well, I'm talking to her right now via this live stream.
Okay,
So she's. Do you want me to? Let me mute this. Hold on. All right, go. Well, that was a conversation about logistics because my car happens to be in the shop today, and so I'm having to borrow my dad's car to do the transporting, and he was just talking about the logistics regarding that. This person, I mean, seriously, right? It's like, oh, I, what an incredibly hateful person. You know, most people here probably actually care about Rachel. I know I certainly do, and even internet friends here, I think, care about her. And you obviously don't care about her at all. You're trying to position me as having wronged her in some way, but you clearly don't care about her at all. There's no disputing that. Here comes my dad again. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now, just as a reminder, the keys that I gave you did not have the silver.
See, I don't think that. I think my dad might be wrong about this. He insists he gave me a key before to his car, which he might have, but I guess I'd have to look for it and find it. Probably up there somewhere. So, I don't know. Hopefully I didn't lose his key. It'll make him mad at me, of course. Understandably. Well, I mean, feed your head. Here's some of the reasons why it seems like it's probably serotonin syndrome. One, it really catapulted into full gear after visiting with Dimitri, which which is a serotonin, which is metabolized by an enzyme that SSRIs inhibit. So, um, you know, although she hasn't felt like she's been on it for weeks, it's kind of like, you know, she loaded her brain full of Dimitri without any way to eat away the Dimitri. I mean, you know, she's 37, I'm 50. So, yeah, I went with a younger woman this time. And my girlfriend before this was exactly the same age as me. So it's not like I have a history of dating women a lot younger than me in particular. You know, I've got a 22, 23-year-old daughter, how old she is. Well, I mean, not for me, not for not for somebody wanting to go hard, and or not on SSRIs. It was fine. I'm fine. My friend's fine. You know, but it was a failure to anticipate a toxic, obviously, and potentially even fatal drug interaction that I probably had some reason to have been. Both Rachel and I should have been more careful. It was just everything was going fine. We weren't having any problems or anything. We hadn't had any problems with her mental health in a long time. Everything seemed smooth and easy, right? She had done she had hung out with Dimitri before and hadn't had any problems. And so it was a perfect storm of probably built up, unmetabolized serotonin y things, plus um, all of a sudden pushing her over the edge with a bunch of serotonin heavy Dimitri, you know? It doesn't get metabolized by the enzyme that normally metabolize it because that's exactly the enzyme that the SSRI inhibits. So that's probably why. Um, that's probably uh, that's probably why I thought, and continue to think it still may likely be serotonin syndrome. Um, yeah, for sure. They have a hate boner for me. I guess they're feeling like they're able to get me right now because it's vulnerable or something. It might be, Rachel. Are you talking about the person's image who was trolling right now? Yeah, it might be you. Well, I mean, you can't really see it that clearly, but yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I just looked at it in a new tab myself. Zoomed in on it. So, it's like, that's the kind of person you think, wow. It's like they're probably the kind of person who tortured animals as a kid or something. I wonder if that's their real name. Anthony. What was it? Anthony Arcadi. That sounds almost like a real name. Regardless, they started this a few days ago with some comments that I deleted, and who knows who they are. I think Rachel knows who they are. She indicated she had this stalker person before, and it might be him. So, I'm sorry, Rachel, that you're having to go through this bullshit while going through this other bullshit. Well, We did get some bad tarot card pulls today. You know, Rachel pulled a card for herself, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. She did pull the death card. And I pulled some cards for her, pulled 3 cards, and one of them was the Tower card. So, it's not a good day for Rachel. And hopefully, the death part of this is we put an end to this mystery, this health mystery, which is, for lack of a better term for it, and solve it with some kind of antibiotic if it's an infection, or injection of an anti-serotonin drug if it's a serotonin thing, or I don't know. I'm trying to imagine this is an actual person from our hometown, I'm pretty sure. Based on some previous comments and some specific things, I'm pretty sure that it's an actual person from our hometown. They have a channel with some videos up that I didn't look at, but if you wanted to go look at it, you could. It's the very first name that I hid today in the stream. That's their channel, their actual channel. No, but look, suffice it to say, I suspect that this is a person who's actually from Rachel's hometown. I could be wrong, but that would be most consistent with reality. On the one hand, it does seem to be taking our mind off of Rachel's more pressing health problems. I don't know if it's taking Rachel's mind off of it in a good way, but at least we have somebody to shit on. It's always nice. It's true the Albanians don't like me, but Hate Boner is a good name for a band, Jonathan Basanti. I mean, the thing is, for it to have nothing to do with Dimitri at all, for it to have nothing to do with Dimitri at all seems very unlikely to me. Like, this is what happened before it really kicked in full blast. She visited with Dimitri, she stood up, she went to the railing, she vomited, and she went in and lay down. And that's when it really kicked in. So the idea that it had nothing to do with that seems very unlikely to me. Although it's possible. It could just be a coincidence, a coincidence in time. I'll take it away. By comparison, these Cyrillic mystery bots seem almost benign. And at the moment, Winston's mom is not even 15 years. She's 37 and I'm 50, so it's only 13 years. It'll be back to 14 years in April, but at the moment it's only 13 years. That barely sounds more than 10. You know, she's 37. 37 sounds old enough to date whomever you want. Well, look, if I had dated somebody um, who was, when I went out looking for a new girlfriend and I was 48, if I had chosen a girlfriend who was my daughter's age, 22 or something, I would get it. I would understand. I would have then opened myself up to certain kinds of critiques, right? By doing that, I open myself up unavoidably up to certain kinds of FE critiques if I choose to do that. Which is why, in part, maybe even in large part, I made clear at the time that I was looking for a girlfriend that I wasn't going to date anybody under 30. And it wasn't because I didn't think I could possibly get along with such a person. It's that I didn't want that FE burden. And when I found out how old Rachel was, it was perfect. She was like 30. At the time I was like 48 and she was 34 or something. So, great. That works. But the thing is, also, I look older than my age, and she looks younger than her age still. And the short hair makes her look even kind of a little bit younger, I think. Um, she's got a kind of an ageless beta quadra face. So, um, people still try to hit that angle of attack, but it just doesn't have any resonance because of the reality that she's 37 and I'm 50. It's not that weird. It just isn't. Plus, I'm kind of a baby, so I'm a young 50. I may look like an old 50, but I feel like a young 50. With the fiery flames of yay, Lord's truth! You know, I feel like a young 50, but I look like an old 70. So, Rachel Lapalosa, please keep me updated if the doctor comes back and tells you anything, if you learn any information. If they say, here, take this injection, and suddenly you feel fine, that'd be great. I'd like to have that solution, please. Let them know that I prefer the kind of solution that's instantaneous and complete. I mean, it's kind of stroke-like symptoms, except it's not specific to a side or whatever. It's a generalized loss of functionality in her fingers, her hands, her feet, her she's wobbly in terms of her walking and stuff. She sleeps a whole bunch. She What's Bell's palsy? I don't know what that is. There aren't involuntary body movements. That's the thing. So it doesn't come along with twitching or jerking or shakiness or whatever. It comes along with like slow to respond fingers and not very precise to respond fingers. Um, yeah, there'd be yods in Rachel's chart. It's true. No, they haven't done an MRI. But like she says, they're waiting. She's waiting for blood work to be done, and on the plus side, I'm sure you're one of the more interesting cases to have come into the emergency room. You're you're a real you're experiencing real symptoms that are significant and bad and scary and unusual. So hopefully the doctors give it their full attention. It intrigues them enough that they collaborate to figure it out, you know. Well, we'll see what the doctors say, Elise. I still wish your name were Elsie, though. It seems like those letters should spell the name Elsie, but instead they spell Elise. That seems somehow wrong to me. She's got prickly feelings in her fingers. She's not reported any burning or itching sensations. She's felt some soreness in her legs sometimes or someplace else in her body. Um, and you know, this tingling sensation, and well, we'll see what they do. I mean, it depends. It sounds to me, Elise S., that the doctor suspects a certain kind of infection, and she's testing for it. It's what it sounds like. And if she gets the results that she expects to get, then she'll prescribe a certain drug that purportedly will attend to it. Now, if she doesn't get that result, then we'll see what she says. It's one of those things where we got to sort of take it step by step, you know. I don't know what they're testing for now. I'm not there, so I can't ask all those questions I would normally ask. But it doesn't really explain. I mean, it could just be a coincidence in time, but that would be I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The other thing is, she indicated to me that like a night or two ago, when she coughed, she could still, or yawned or exhaled, she could still taste the presence of Dimitri, which is something that happens to me for a couple of days after it, but then I don't taste it anymore or smell it. For a couple of days after, it's like Dimitri uh, makes me smell and taste Dimitri in the world. Yeah, it was right after she got up, puked, and she was down for the count from that point forward. So, vision issues, she hasn't reported any. Dizziness, she hasn't reported it. Hot flashes, I don't know. She hasn't reported any. So, I mean, what I would suggest is, given the fact that she normally has to take Prozac to have adequate levels of serotonin in her brain to be sane. Given the fact that she's normally um, that that if they're gonna try something, even though they don't think it's the serotonin syndrome, they should try one of those anti-serotonin drugs. Because in the status quo, she is not needing a drug to give herself more serotonin that she normally needs. So that needs to be accounted for. And if I were the physician there, and if as long as I knew it wasn't going to do any harm, I would try one of those anti-serotonin drugs first and foremost. Regardless of whether the symptoms are consistent with serotonin syndrome, there are so many other factors pointing directly to some sort of drug interaction that it seems more likely than any other explanation, even if the symptoms aren't consistent with those of serotonin syndrome. Okay, well, like if you could if you could possibly like replay the last 1 minute of this live stream to the doctor when you see her, like maybe line it up and prepare to play it where I explain how, or maybe I can do a quick summary right now and then you'll be ready for it from this point. Okay, so I'll do a quick summary. So the key thing to remember here is two factors. One, the timing of it, which was literally she visited with Dimitri, stood up, puked, and then went and lay down and was down for the count. Number two, that she normally takes Prozac, and if she doesn't take it, she has inadequate serotonin in her brain to remain sane, and it's a marked change in her mental health that I can easily note and see. So the point is, it seems pretty clear that whatever's going on with her, it's making her not need the serotonin boost that she normally does, and so I think it might be worthwhile if you're going to, if you think it's not going to do any harm, to try one of those anti-serotonin drugs anyway, even though this particular serotonin syndrome doesn't seem consistent with the symptoms of serotonin syndrome as they're normally articulated. There's not any research or data really on the interactions between DMT and these mental health drugs that she's on, and so I would recommend possibly this. This is, or at least these are my thoughts. I trust you as a physician know best, but I think I wanted to articulate this, and since I can't be there in person, I hope Rachel is able to play this for you. Well, I eventually did use the actual word, and Rachel can clue her in, regardless of what it means. So, Rachel, if you can kind of mark that little spot there, and if possible, play that for the doctor, um, I'd appreciate it. If I could be there, like I was in the last appointment, I'd be there, and I'd be able to. Well, like she says herself, she's not a good reporter of that. You know, the problem is there's a lot of FE at hand. Uh, no, it's a COVID thing. No, you're just nobody's allowed in but the patient themselves. Even though they have a separate COVID waiting area in which there are two people waiting. So, yeah, if possible, if the doctor's willing to listen to that like minute or whatever that I just said, if you could sort of, if you're still listening, Rachel, but so I mean, I remain pretty convinced that despite the fact that it doesn't link to the symptoms articulated specifically of serotonin syndrome, that this is ultimately a bad drug interaction of some kind. And specifically linked to what the psychiatrist says, which is that this SSRI um, makes it such that it inhibits the enzyme that specifically metabolizes DMT. So the DMT stays in her system for a lot longer than it otherwise would. The particular SSRI she is on has a very long half-life, so it makes sense that there would be some bad drug interaction stuff going here. And additionally, um, it was likely the case that Rachel was pushing it with the serotonin levels anyway. Having hung out with Dimitri before, having taken my Addies on occasion, not that frequently, but every once in a while, she probably built up extra bits of it. So when we finally got to the spot where it was, oh, hooray, we're going to this party and we're going to have a good time, she was already at the precipice, so to speak. That's my position on the matter. Now, it may turn out that this emergency room doctor is right. It's just an infection and this is all just incidental, these serotonin things. And the reason she doesn't seem like she needs serotonin is because she's sick, and that sort of like turns down your energy naturally or something. That's possible, but it seems less likely than what I'm suggesting. That these are atypical symptoms of a drug interaction that broadly fits into the class of diagnoses called serotonin syndrome. Well, she's just gonna have to wait for them to come back for the test results. That's the bottom line. I don't know if she appreciates having all of us waiting there with her virtually, but uh, she might make her feel better to know that everybody's here hanging out, making sure she's gonna be okay, since they don't let me into the actual hospital. I'm probably more comfortable waiting like this anyway. In some sense, I've got more access to information, hypotheses by various people, etc. We're double vaxxed. But we haven't gotten the booster shot yet. And the thing is, it does fit into the category of that makes perfect sense, Rachel, that they're going to draw blood and use the results to form a conclusion. That's a good way to do things. But we're speculating. We're busy speculating over here, Rachel. We are speculating our little butts off. No, silly, it's IV. That's not Roman numeral 4. I don't blame him for being confused, though, Elise says. You're supposed to spell IV Eyevee. Well, she doesn't have to answer those questions. You know, she she can just, you know, not answer them, ignore them. I don't think she feels compelled to answer every question. I don't see a lot of at Rachel's here anyway. You know, we're talking about her, but some people are sort of heaving instructions at her, but not really a lot of, like, Dear Rachel, please respond to this. Thank you, Sky Gear. Your Sky Gear is the most fly of the fly gear. The most why is it high gear? Because it's high in the sky gear. I like these little Doc Brown things. I want to get these Doc Browns to go out more. You know. But Marty! Hospital stays suck, says Elise S. What's the best Roman numeral? I'm going to go 8. It's the biggest in terms of size that it occupies. But Marty, when will we ever get that kind of energy? Something like that. Don't blow up my phone, Yo-Yo. You almost got a stream the other night saying, Yo-Yo, don't blow up my phone stream. God, I'm worrying. I'm fretting. I'm furrying and wetting. But Marty, the flux capacitor. I can't do Doc Brown. I've never attempted to do him before. I just realized that I have his hair now. I haven't heard Rick in a while. I tried to do him, so I'm not going to bother. I think I'm gonna pull a bong rip instead. I'm gonna pull a bong rip with my head, and that'll make me feel a little bit better for a moment. Oh yeah. But my moisture feeling laden with the dampness. Yeah, but Doc Brown was very 20th century. You know, Rick provides a real 21st century version of Doc Brown. Well, I mean, sure, that would be great if they find whatever they find out it is. If they can give me definitiveness about what it is and how to fix it, that's fantastic. I don't have any vested interest in being right about it. I'm just saying I'm skeptical that all of these corollaries lining up the way that they do to to make a case for some sort of drug interaction. I believe it's a stronger case probably than any other case you might make, right? The Oggs. Well, sure. I mean, that's why I always pay a lot of respect to the OG sitcom, 80s sitcom, which began in the 70s, of course. The OG 80s sitcoms began in the 70s and set the tone for what a sitcom should be, namely Silver Spoons. You and I together, you and together, making each day so fun. You and I together, having a lot of fun. We're Merity Mya, and something you can't hide. Silver spoons together, you and together. What happened? You're a little bit late arriving at Liana. It's we're seeing symptoms of what we've heretofore thought has been serotonin syndrome. Why do horrible things happen to the characters in sitcoms always on the last season? Because people are sick of them by that point. They go, just feed him to the sharks. Because they've gotten all the juice they can out of good stuff happening, I guess. I was watching this rather dark and kind of horrible, but kind of good German show about time travel and suicide. It was pretty good. Pretty spooky, I guess. Having completed Archive 81, which was pretty good and pretty spooky. Well, I mean, here's the thing, Eliana. It's been more than 3 weeks, and I would have expected, based on our understanding of things, for her to get better after 3 weeks. It's been more than that, and today she reported a symptom that was more significant, that would seem to be more significant than it would seem to be like the kind of significant symptom you see early on that would go away rather than when they would be late appearing like this. So, as per the instructions by the registered nurse when we talked to her, if this occurs, take her to the hospital. We took her to the hospital. And obviously, I'm very worried about her. She walks unsteadily. She's got a lot of weakness in her fingers, like in her hands, and it's scary. It's really scary. But well, I mean, she's in the right place, right? She's at the hospital, so yeah, at least S, I know. But it's we'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, I'm worried about her. Yeah, I like INFJ as my partner. She's great. She's fantastic. I think if she were an ISFJ, this would have been a lot harder on us. Because it's like a lack of connectivity with her body is in some way less alarming to her than it would be to say an ISFJ. And you know, as I've said consistently, she's the trooper consistently, and I'm the baby. And instead of me helping her carry what's got to be a very challenging weight, um, I do my best to make it not be the other way around, where she's additionally having to handle my emotions. But it's hard for me, and it's hard for her, and I do the best I can. I've been trying to do the best I can. Who knows what the hell it is? Who knows what's going on? I still make the case I make that there are too many corollaries for this to have nothing to do with a drug interaction. But I could be wrong. It's a very strong circumstantial case. Thanks, Rachel. I have been doing a great partner. You. I know what you mean. You mean you've been doing great as a partner. Thank you, darling. Yeah, it's, you know, waiting around for a doctor to tell you what's wrong with you when you've got something serious wrong with you is pretty scary. And Factor B mutation. It sucks. Factor V. What's the B stand for? Very bad mutation? Well, it's probably better to clot easily than it is to be a hemophiliac and not clot at all, right? It's probably better, one would think. Because if you're a hemophiliac, then factor 5. My bad. It's Roman numerals. They get me. They got me with their romanity, with their romance. Uh, I should eat something. I feel like my body craves some sustenance. Fortunately, I have this burrito right here. Birth control's an iffy thing. Some women handle it fine, but it's not without its risks. Drives some chicks crazy. Crazy like a fox. You know the old saying, if you always pull out, don't shoot up in one, you'll never end up with a daughter or a son. It's the old saying. Sure. You are a Netherlandian, hailing from the Netherlands. Nobody even knows where those are. Blood clot's no joke. Well, at least that's where your phone number calls from. So as far as I'm concerned, that's where you exist, regardless of where your physical location is. I declare you, I observe you to exist in the Netherlands, therefore you do. Benzos. Nothing more than benzos. Eating lots of benzos makes you feel sad. And benzos are dripping in the back of your mind, bringing you down to a climb more appropriately. When the benzos wear off, perhaps you'll feel agitated, eventually as though you need to tear your skin asunder. That's what I've heard reported regarding the removal of benzodiazepines from a regular consumer of them. That's hymn 47 from the hymnal of Saint Benzo, a little known as patron saint of benzos. I must have FI because I cry, because I have to live stream and ask why, oh why. Why, oh, why must I live stream? Because there's nothing else for me to possibly do except fret. Since they won't let me into the hospital, I can't go and make my way through my own personal agenda and my own thoughts, be they one, four, or two. Instead, I have got to rely on the people who've been trained to do the job I think I can do possibly better than they can do that job themselves. At least some of the time. Because I'm both hubristic and absurd. I might be an healthy ENFP. Are you sure I'm not a healthy ENFP? I think you may have gotten your article incorrect there, sir. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe you forgot to get vaccinated for wrong article syndrome. Are you wearing a mask? I don't want it to spread. And thus it was that Yo-Yo realized, oh my god, I've got wrong article syndrome. Thank God Dr. Eric, the metaphysician, is here to inform me about my horrible disease and my need to mask up so that I don't spread it to others. Mask up, buddy. Mask up. And that's when it was that Yo-Yo realized, hey, I need to put my mask on. Otherwise, other people might use the wrong article. I'm not going to type you by the text. I've always indicated that. I've always indicated I cannot type you via your chat. It's not possible for me to do so. Anytime I've attempted in the past, it's just as good as a random guess. I've been wildly off before, so I don't even bother to try anymore. It's not a good way to type people. I need to talk to them face to face, ask them the questions I ask them. There's a certain approach to typing people that works successfully to type people, and other things that one might do that would purport to type people are just doing a disservice to the honest way in which you have to do the things you actually have to do to type somebody correctly. So no, I don't just throw around types from what I glean about somebody from the chat usually. I try to avoid that. Question number 1, are you audio or visual? I mean, what does that mean? I'm audio, I guess? Yeah, I'm audio. I see. Now I understand what you mean, because now I understand this. You're typing me with questions. Okay. I'm audio. That's my answer. Go ahead, ask me more questions. Your sphincter smells like spearmint? That is weird. Maybe you should stop shoving gum up there. Guys, everybody, Elise S. wants us to know that her sphincter smells like spearmint. I think she's suggesting everybody put gum up their butthole, but I advise against it. She claims she's a nurse practitioner, but she spells it N-E-R-S-E. So I wouldn't trust her. Am I confident or scary? Confident. I like this game. Am I a smeller or a talker? I'm a talker. Am I a smeller or a talker? What the hell? What kind of a question is that? Who would answer that? I'm a smeller. Who considers themselves a smeller? Nobody. Not even even smells a lot considers themselves a smeller. Stop smelling my butthole, no matter how much gum I chew with my butthole. Actually, I would say, I'm a fast walker, but if I weren't constrained by FE and I were traveling by foot, I probably would be a runner, except I'm constrained by FE. Because I figure if I'm going to travel by foot, I might as well get there as quickly as possible. I'd probably jog at least some of the way if I were unconstrained by FE. What happened to Rachel? She is experiencing increased symptoms and concerning symptoms from her ongoing problem, which has impacted her ability to use her, to have full functionality of her body and stuff like that. And so we took her to the hospital, and they're doing some tests, and we're waiting on the results. And I'm well, for two reasons, Rain. One, only certain circumstances, like normally, it's FE appropriate to run if you're out jogging or something, right? But if you're walking someplace, people don't really think of you as running. So to see a person who's dressed in not exercise clothes running makes it seem like they must be in a hurry. Okay. Now, second of all, running naturally is going to make you a little bit sweaty. And then whenever you get where you're going, you're going to be sweaty. So there's that factor to consider when you don't want to get where you're going too sweaty. So those are both FE considerations that I would take into account. That would prevent me from running on plenty of occasions when I might, if I didn't care about those things, just run. Keyboard or joystick? Keyboard. Have I tried frolicking? I would like to frolic. I can't frolic right now because I'm worried about Rachel. Coca-Cola. I am appreciating Yo-Yo's questions, though. But in general, the way it actually ends up playing out is that I'm a fast walker. Unless I've got Rachel walking with me, which is almost most of the time, in which case I try to walk at Rachel's pace, or sometimes I walk ahead and stop and wait. I walk faster than everybody, and I always have my whole life. So it's because I got longer legs. I guess probably since I was an adult anyway, I felt like I always walked faster than everybody else. That everybody else walked too slow. Beef. Yo, beef is the answer to number 7. These are great typing questions. I like them. They're fun. They're easy to answer. Sports are the only thing you get competitive about? Well, it's appropriate to get competitive about sports. This is coffee with coffee creamer inside of it. Together, we can taste the flavor. I never felt like it had anything to do with, particularly beyond the fact that I was 6'4" taller than everybody else, and therefore walked with a longer stride. I had particularly long legs as well. That seems a much more likely explanation. Am I a puller or a pusher? I'm a pusher. If I have to. If I have to be one or the other, you know. I'd rather be neither. The Bible or the church, huh? The Bible, I guess, if I have to pick between those two. I guess it doesn't specify which Bible, so that's fine. Could be mine. My very shortened version of the Bible. It's got the, basically the New Testament summed up, you know, Jesus, yada yada yada, sinless, yada yada yada, crucified, yada yada yada, died for our sins, yada yada yada. You know, forgiven if you seek redemption, yada yada yada. Up. Of course, up. Why would somebody choose down? That doesn't make any sense at all. Well, the point is, Jack, the yada 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 isn't actually yada yada yada. It's filled in with actual words, okay? Anytime you want, Club ENTP. Not today, maybe, because I'm fretting about Rachel too much. It would seem like too much successful compartmentalization for me. I'd feel bad about compartmentalizing so well. It would subject me to epi critiques like, while your girlfriend was in the hospital, you were interviewing another HP on your YouTube channel. At least since this is about that, is I can sort of epi justify it. You know. Belle Biv DeVoe. It's not respectable. Well, I could have said muggity meow. Would you prefer that? I'm trying to make a point, Jack, which is there's other words in between those things that I don't want to specify. Do you see? Just, you know, next time you catch me live and you're available, go now, and I'll go yes, and then we'll do it. And I'll interview you. I'm a good interviewer. Good interviewer. I'm good at interviewing people. It's its own skill, you know. I want Rachel to be better, or at least to have a clear diagnosis, prognosis, attempted solution, something, you know. I want solutions, goddammit. I want solvency. I don't want bullshit. I don't care about being right or words or whatever. I want solvency. I know, darling. I don't mean to be. I'm not at all trying to position my meowing at you at all. I hope you understand that. Well, we've gone over this on a number of occasions. She is experiencing symptoms that may or may not link to a drug interaction or may or may not link to an infection that are consistent with, like, I don't know. I don't want to go over it again. Well, Jack Torrance, interestingly, yeah, yeah, sure you are. Cats love broth. I think we all have a pretty clear understanding of that. So, for those of you who aren't quite as intuitive but are mods, get your band hammer ready, okay? Um, Question number 12, morning or evening? Morning. Question number 13, may you take the middle way or the highway? The highway. So, oh, Jack, right. So the funny thing was there was an outside COVID waiting area that was separate from the rest of the waiting area. There were two people in it. One of them was an old lady with a mask on. The other person was somebody else. And that was for people who had COVID or COVID symptoms or whatever, right? There were two people there. I don't know how many people were inside the main part. I wasn't allowed to go inside because, of course, COVID. Because my existence poses a threat to everybody. My presence inside poses a threat to everybody in some regard. Because, well, I mean, I don't have a negative COVID test in the last 48 hours. Ooh, that's a. Okay, question 14, water or fire? I'll take water. Question 15, Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson? That's a tough one, man. I'll take Muhammad Ali. But, like, both of them at their prime? Who would win that fight? I'm assuming the question is simply, who would win if they're both at their prime? That's a tough question to answer. Do you know that scholars do not know who John the Revelator? Is that a combination of somebody who reveals something and a realtor? Could possibly have been a woman, like Joyce Wang. Joyce Wang around here, she's a realtor, sells a lot of houses. Maybe it was her. No, I don't know who John the Revelator is. Why would I know who John the Revelator is? I've explained Christianity on other videos before, and you need to watch those videos. I don't want to go over Christianity again with you. As far as question 16, definitely Clinton. As far as 17, Apple. Well, why do they call you? Why is she calling him the Revelator? I've never heard that word before. The Revelator. They're all important so far, Rain. Each one of these questions is critical too. Um, it's critical to finding my personality type. Well, I've never heard the word before, okay? Elise S? God. I mean, Talk about not. Ask yourself this, at least ask, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus shame me for not having heard that word before? Or would he share the warmth and the truth of Jesus' love and truth with me? What would he do? Because you're not doing it. That's the point. You're not being Jesus enough. So, oh, yes, you did. I was utterly humiliated by your shaming. Utterly humiliated. And boy, Jesus is so mad at you right now. And John right now, John the Revelator, he's sitting next to Jesus and he's shaking his head in admonition of you. Well, I've just not heard the word revelator before. I'm familiar with the book of Revelation. I've heard about that before. A billion. Why would you take a million if you could get a billion? If you want it bad enough that you want a million of it, then you probably better off getting a billion. I guess that's assuming that you can choose zero too. I mean, if a million or a billion, it's a crapshoot whether you get something good or bad, I guess. If it's $1 billion, I'm happy I took the billion. If it's a billion cockroaches, I'm unhappy I took the billion. You know? Jordan Peterson. I like your ridiculous questions, but they obviously don't link to anything. They're just random questions. The beehive. The beehive. Well, sure, I could intuit it, but I've never heard the word before. So I thought it was funny because it sounded like a combination of a revealer and a realtor. And so I chose to go the funny route. I didn't know she was actually right. I thought she probably made a typo or something. I never heard that word before. I thought I was making fun of her, but turns out who was being made fun of? Me, the whole time. And then I got her for shaming me. Revelation 11:3 is happening right now. Really? Somebody read me the play-by-play from the Bible real quick. Remind me, because my Bible study's waned a bit. What's 11:3 again? And then they threw rocks at the tree. Was that it? No, wait. They threw trees at the rock. What is it? I don't know. What does it say? Air or earth? Air. You don't have to breathe dirt. Well, just... God, you're gonna make me Google shit. Okay, I'm sure I'll be shocked. Let's see. See how shocked I am. Revelation. What did you say it was? 13? Let me make sure I got that right. I surely can't have gotten this right. Revelation 11:3. Okay, not Revelation 13. Let's see. Revelation 11:3. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,203 score days, clothed in sackcloth. I mean, I am more amazed than I thought. I'll admit, at least us, I am more amazed than I thought I would be. Let's see, speed or power, speed. The Rolling Stones, the Dire Straits. They're all good questions, all important questions. I want everybody to know that my answer to the questions is the correct answer to each of the questions that Yo-Yo is asking. So you can check your own answer key and see if you got them right. They do have a right or a wrong answer, and it is my answer. The right answer is. So basically, how high you score against 100% being this exactly the same as my answers, that tells you how much of a grade you get as a human being, whether you're A plus, A minus, B plus, etc. Pain or pleasure? I mean, it. I'm trying to conceive of a situation in which I would prefer pain over pleasure. It's. It seems such an obvious question. I'll definitely take pleasure. Alien or ghost? Alien. Now she's saying that they represent the people who are making the decision. That's going to affect everybody's relationship with sackcloth for a lot of days. You better watch out before I Sodom you and your Gomorrah. You know what I'm saying? Cinema sounds like a naughty theater. That's absolutely correct. Microphone or speaker? Microphone? That's a tough one. They're like love and marriage, a horse and carriage. Namely, you can't have one without the other. Smeared. What has she been smeared with? Some sort of paste or pudding? Peanut butter, perhaps? Cream cheese? Some sort of cream cheese and other stuff combination called schmear? What was she smeared with? Stop smearing me with butter. Smear me with cream cheese instead. You know what I always thought was funny was Edgar told her the Dalai Lama. I'll take the Dalai Lama. At least he's sort of culturally entitled to his bullshit. Bread. Bread, motherfucker. Bread. I'll take bread. I'll take bread for 500, Alex. They use this ingredient to make bread. What is wheat, Alex? That's right. Hey, I'd like a nice loaf of blank. What is bread, Alex? That is correct. Bread for 1,000. The best way to make a sandwich is to put stuff between two slices of blank. Bread? Is it bread, Alex? What? I'm sorry, what is bread? That's right. Thank you for forming it in the form of a question. Okay, that closes out our topic bread. England or Ireland? Ireland. Yes, because that's where they make Irish Spring soap, the most important soap that's ever existed. I hope, Yo-Yo, you're writing down all my answers so that you can score this properly against your score key that I'm sure you have there somewhere to determine what type I am. Unless you're going with my definition, which is that past or future? Future. You know what, though? Requiring race to ID voters is racist. So, they should stop requiring people to have a race in order to get a job as a voter IDer, or else they're being racist. Identifying yourself only counts if you're racially ambiguous like me. Otherwise, it's all bullshit. Rolex or Bentley? Bentley, obviously. It's much more useful than a Rolex. Listen, if you want my body and you think I'm sexy, come on, baby, let's go. Why, Vinnie Gallo's a fan of what? A fan of cinema? Who names their kids Cinema? Or is that their last name? Or are they a one-name person like Cher? I wonder if Rachel's still listening. If at any point, Rachel, you want to have me talk to the doctor and I can recap what I want to say to them, if they'll let me, then just give me the cue and I'll recap it real quick. What I have to say about it. Which basically is that there are a lot of specific circumstantial correlates that would suggest it would be freakishly it'd be freakish in its time if it didn't have anything to do with the drug interaction, although it's possible. But if you're still listening, if you're hearing this, please keep that in mind, that anytime you want me to give a concise 1 minute or less, then I'll meow. Number 35, brunette. Question 36, football, of course. What kind of a question is 36? What am I, European? No. I just picked the one I thought Rachel was more like whatever brunette or blonde was. I picked Rachel's hair. Oh, Lucretia, you got into so much trouble back in the day with the Roman Empire. I wonder if Lucretia knew Superbus. You guys know Superbus? Superbus was a Roman emperor. He was known for his incredible bus that he had. Clear bottom kayaks or Ben Shapiro? Clear bottom kayaks, I guess. Basketball or ice hockey is tough. I go on basketball. But I gotta say, ice hockey can be very entertaining, surprisingly. Red pill or blue pill? Blue pill. Blue pill and proud. If blue pill means getting a happy relationship with the lady instead of being weird about chicks, then I take the blue pill. For sure. Here's my advice to people and their pills. Stop being weird about chicks. You pill people, you're weird about chicks. Weak or strong? Weak. Ultimately, I'm pretty weak. Shoes or socks? Flip flops, bro. Flip flops. I guess I'll go shoes as a consequence. Into the Spider Verse. Hooray. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. If we're talking about the Matrix, red pill or blue pill, red pill you learn the truth, and the blue pill you stay in your happy life. Um, oh, well, I mean, I guess the blue pill. It's like, the people in my life are real to me. If it meant losing my daughter, losing Rachel, losing my dad, losing everything, I'd take the blue pill. Why wouldn't I? Good. Oh, I missed one. Pen or sword? Pen. 42, good or bad? Good. He makes he he presents this thing. Um, he presents this thing. Eckhart Tolle does that suggests that just past the veil of the curtain of these simplicities that he's presenting in enigmatic ways, there's a truth that he understands that you can access that remains just out of reach, but you probably feel, if you buy into it, a sort of glow after reading his nonsense for a while. If you're actively buying into it, you know? I hope Rachel is still here, able to communicate, or she could call me too. Hopefully her phone's not running out of batteries or anything. Um, I don't want to bug her, but I would love to get an update of some sort. But there's probably no update. So, anyway, These are the sort of problems that are real problems that make me feel a sense of I can't do anything except just wait in the waiting room, pacing back and forth, which is what I'm doing right now, kind of. I don't know what they're going to tell Rachel. I don't know what's wrong with her. I feel helpless, I guess, and sad and hopeful and a lot of things all at the same time, you know? It makes me feel this anxious flutteriness in my chest that they just have this, like, I mean, I generally let Rachel decide when she wants to do that and how she wants to do that, and rather than try to suggest whatever. She's got a phone. She's, to the extent that her parents want to check on her status via me, they're always available to look here and see. And okay, so you're still waiting to even have your blood taken, or what? I'm sorry, I don't mean to make you feel pressured or whatever. I've been streaming for 2 hours and you've talked to the doctor and then you've just been waiting this rest of this time, or what? Waiting for somebody to come take your blood? For them to take it even, before they even do any tests on it or anything. I will try to be patient for Rachel's sake, yeah. See, if I were there, I would be able to yell at them. These are the unintentional harms of COVID policies, right? Now I feel like, there's nobody for me to shake my fist at. Somebody needs to have my fist shaken at them. For not prioritizing Rachel enough. And how am I supposed to do that if they're not even going to let me in the building? And why are they not going to let me in the building? Why? What's the reason? Is it because I have COVID? No. Is it because I've not been vaccinated? No. Is it even because I've not had a negative COVID test in the past 48 hours? No. It's because I'm not Rachel and nobody else is allowed in. Bull. So what's a man to do? If he can't go into a place and wag his finger at people and scold them into handling some shit, then what's he gonna do? What can he do? Plane. Boats are lame. Boats are the leading cause of seasickness. You know what, Arcadia Methodist Hospital? Maybe you should change your name to Arcadia Method Worst Hospital. Fourth. Son. Although I'm feeling moony at the moment, but in general, son. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's hay. I don't know if there's poo. I don't know my own way. I don't know. How about you? These are the poems of the days of our lives. Jung or Freud? I'll take Jung over Freud. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. Not everything's about my penis. I mean, I know most things are about my penis, but not everything. I prefer rain over sun as well. It's more rainy. It has the advantage of being the more rainy of the two options. What? What? That's not working. What? Why are you not working? What's wrong with your butt? What? What? That's not working. What? Why are you not working? What's wrong with your butt? Now you're working. How about now? Why you weren't working before? Let's see. I don't seem to be going through these things, though. Why not? That's the question that we all need to answer. Maybe if I put this on this. Pew and pew. A piggity pew. Will it work now? A niggity now? Oh no, it won't. A piggity pew. How about now? No, it won't. How about wow? Maybe it will. Let's find out. Yiggity yow. Alright, there. Is it coming through? Yes, now it is. Apartment or castle? Castle, I guess. Forever kind of straight flush, obviously. Those are too easy. Yo-Yo has all the list of questions that can determine your type without asking a bunch of meaningful questions. He can just determine your type. Answer 50 random choice questions and he'll determine your type. Answer 50 random choice questions and he'll diagnose your type. You're a meow, 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 meow. He'll tell you, oh, yeah, I'm a meow, 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 meow. What, yeah? You're a meow, 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 meow. Yo-Yo will tell you when he's done with this here thing. This here thing. Okay, now listen. I'm pretty sure I had mentioned him to you previously, Legends Fall. I really think you should sub to him. I'll take the burger, please. I'm pretty sure I had mentioned him to you previously. I really think you should sub to him, Legends Fall. Sub to him. Oh yeah, you better sub to him. Because he's wise and true and just and fine and special and good and delightful and exciting and true and nice. You should subscribe to him twice under 2 different accounts and watch them concurrently under both on different computers or different devices, logged in under different identities too. Just to benefit him, he's so cool to you. You should subscribe to him. I'll take the ketchup. Ketchup. It's not ketchup. It's not ketchup. It's not ketchup. But it's ketchup, and ketchup is still better than mayo. Mayo is the very worst of the condiments. Everybody surely agrees with that. Mayo is the very worst of the condiments. Everybody definitely agrees with that. Mayo is the very worst of the condiments. Oh yeah. Nobody with any sense likes mayonnaise. Nobody with sense likes mayonnaise. Nobody with sense likes mayonnaise, 'cause mayo is gross. Nobody with sense likes mayonnaise. Nobody with sense likes mayonnaise. Nobody who has any sense likes mayonnaise because mayo is gross. Right now I'll answer question 52, cat. 'Cause that's the animal that I have living in my hat. It's a cat, not a dog, although I once had a dog before. Eminem. I'll take Eminem over Tupac for sure. Eminem's catalog's way more vast and complete. Tupac died when he was just 3 years old, which is very young even for a rap star. Whoa. Tupac died at age 3 years old. He was a very old looking 3. He became a rap star during his toddler days between 1 and 3. Tupac died when he was 3 years old because he got shot by somebody in Vegas when he was out living up the town. Yeah. Hulk Hogan or the Hulk? I'll take the Hulk, I guess. Incredible, you know. That's the advantage the Hulk has over Hulk Hogan is the Hulk is incredible. Hulk Hogan is not. The Hulk is incredible while Hulk Hogan is not. The Hulk is incredible while Hulk Hogan is not. Hulk Hogan is not incredible. The Hulk is incredible while Hulk Hogan is not. The Hulk is incredible while Hulk Crunchy country croutons. Crunchy country croutons. A crunchy country croutons. Croutons. A country crunchy croutons. B.A. or Murdoch. B.A. or Murdoch. I think I'll take me some Murdoch. I think I'll take me some Murdoch. Ooh, yeah. Give me your Murdoch. This is how I wait for my loved one who is in the hospital. I guess I'll take Superman over Batman because Superman's more hospitable. Anyway, my poor darling Rachel, she's sick with some kind of satchel of unhealthful goods that causes her to experience wood and party body syndrome. The fire rises is his main one now. The fire rises, oh yeah, wow. The fire rises high up in the sky, making super big variety. Why? Protons, neutrons, todos, boludones, juntamos, las manos, encontramos más mononos. Mana tiales, desparmales, abysmales, los, cristales, cristalojos, vase pendejos, tingo, rimas, imada, le como clavo, soy el mago te declaro. Oh yeah. I'm sure I said something undesirable in Spanish, but I don't really recognize all those words, and even if I did the way I said them, I'm sure it wouldn't be such a great incurring of meaning from the Spanish language, 'cause it doesn't really sound like real Spanish does, and that's a good reason to conclude that I didn't really say those things. That's right, I didn't really say those things. I said other things. Oh, Rachel. Poor Rachel's at the hospital, all alone. She's only got this live stream to go on. Here comes my dad. Come in. I choose Rachel. Between Rachel and Rachel, I choose Rachel and Rachel. I'll take them both. My dad threw me an orange. My dad threw me an orange from outside the door. And it was there before. Now look at it glowing in store. It's full of sparkles. My orange has sparkles inside. My orange is a sparkly ride down a universe of sparkly holes and mysterious portals. Oh yeah. My orange has a sparkly hole. It's a mysterious portal, whoa. Where you think it goes, this orange that I have. Jack insists it's a tangerine, but man, maybe it is a tangerine. Why? Sounds like I might have been wrong. Is this a tangerine or an orange? That's what everybody wants to know. Is it a tangerine or an orange? Is it good to eat or throw? Is this a tangerine or an orange? Is it dream or fantasy? I'm gonna say dream. Is it wood or sand? I'm gonna say wood. And I can't say why I'm being the person giving those answers instead of the other one, except it seems the correct one to me. Without any reasoning or philosophy, it just seems like the correct answer to me, 'cause it's a tangerine or an orange, and it's sitting here in my hand. And all I know for sure is that it's not made out of turkey, beef, or ham, 'cause it's a tangerine or an orange. Question 61's an easy one for me. I definitely choose dopamine. That's a preferable alternative for me, 'cause I'm in favor of that kind of speed. Oh yeah. That's all thanks to this. It's all thanks to this. I know, Yo-Yo, you're persistent. You got a lot of questions. But Yo-Yo's thorough when he does the typing of somebody. He wants to make sure that he asks all the relevant questions, each of which gives him powerful information about a person's type. Don't you kind of wish you always walked around with a beat playing underneath you so you could just start rapping with the beat anytime you wanted to? Like, hello there, store clerk. Can I have 2 packs of Marlboro Reds? That's what I want. It's a fact. Can you put them on the counter and charge me for them then? I'll pay you with my card and I'll be out. And when I get outside, I'll spark one up and smoke it. Then I'll be satisfied. Could you do that for me, friend? Mr. Hyde is your name. Mr. Jekyll being your alternative name. Hi, Evelyn. Yeah, Rachel's in the hospital and we're waiting for Mia. We're waiting for some Mia to come in and find out more. Until the Mia comes, we'll just have to wait at the door. Right now, it's kind of killing time. Fortunately, there's a beat playing in behind me for some reason. I'm always followed around by a drummer. Tree or leave, I'll take tree. Raider or Twix, I'll take Twix. Don't seem like a very good mix of things to put beside one another like that, unless the Raider's kind of candy bar that I've not rapped about before. Fuck COVID rules, Evelyn says. I couldn't agree more, miss, says Eric as he replies. Fuck COVID rules, I agree with you. That would be nice if we could bend them over a couch and give it to them real hard and ride them good and long and deep and stern till they never turned around again without a burning sensation in their butthole from the anal wreckage they endured. These COVID rules deserve that. You and I, we have concurred. Needle or people? I choose people? That's a strange question. Needle or people? Needling people. Should we needle some people? Because they come from a steeple, which is made out of people. It's the people made from a needle steeple. Wouldn't it be nice? Don't you guys all wish that you would just walk around with a beat playing behind you? Sometimes you could ignore it, just talk as normal. Sometimes you could, rap or whatever. Sometimes you could sing. The important thing is people would see you coming, and they hear the beat, and they go, oh shit, Eric's coming. Symbol or symbolic? Huh. A symbol or symbolic? Symbol or symbolic? I'm not sure. A symbol or symbolic. What for? Let's see. I'll say symbolic. I'm not sure why, but symbolic seems more representative of I. Oh yeah. Como, Romo, Karak, Romo, Aussie, no mas, Vingo, Tiro, Los, Si, Lo, Sigo, Ti, Persigo, Pa, Di, Lo, Diga, Ma, Ti, Lo, Muestro, La, Yo, Solo, Intro, on track, oh, like C. Martin in the jerk. Yeah. It's important to say yeah. It affirms the world. Rap or R&B? I'll take rap. I'll take rap over R&B, which mostly stands for Ran Bran. Ran Bran. It's supposed to stand for rhythm and blues, but it's more Ran Bran, which are forms of yeah, of course. Sweetness, I was only joking when I said I'd rather smash you thing upon your head. Oh, sweetness, I was only joking when I said I'd like to wrap you up on your bed. And now, finally, I know at long last how Joan of Arc felt. Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Arc felt. Whoa, whoa, whoa. When the flame Now I know how Joan of Arc felt. Finally, I've been trying for years to know how Joan of Arc felt. The other thing is, I want you to understand something, okay? Listen, motherfuckers. I am human and I need to be loved just like anybody else does. Okay? You feel my vibe? I'm human and I need to be loved just like anybody else does. Human and I need to be loved just like anybody else does. When they finally feel like Joan of Arc felt, then they become human and knew how they need to be loved, cause they feel like Joan of Arc now, cause I choose guitar and I choose tiger. I choose penalty. I choose penalty. Well, I don't think it's tongue in cheek. I think Morrissey was genuinely so self-important he believed his own experience of middle-class gay angst was equivalent to being burned at the stake for your religious beliefs. I shit you not. I think probably Morrissey is so self-important he actually equates his middle class amongst and malaise or whatever you want to call it, along with his gayness, to be equivalent to being burned at the stake in the Middle Ages for your heretical religious beliefs. He throws a Walkman in there to bridge the gap between the olden days and now, and he's like Joan of Arc, except he's got a Walkman blasting the Smiths into his eardrums. Wow, as he's burning at the stake because he's only that successful, right? He's not more successful. She's in the ER for... I've gone over this a lot. We've been waiting for a while now. As you can see, I've compartmentalized. It's easy to compartmentalize when you got a beat on in the background. Why is she in the ER? Cause she's experiencing very fucked up physical symptoms that have persisted for weeks and that don't have a good explanation except for the one that I've been making. But perhaps that explanation is wrong. She's going in there to see what's wrong. They're gonna get her blood and test it, but they're instead suggesting to make her wait. If I were there, I'd make them hate making us wait, cause I'd yell at them into being so late in attending to Rachel, who needs to have the blood taken out of her. But I'm not there, so instead she waits because it's not her way to go and yell at folks for taking too long to take out her blood. Which do I choose? Half or whole? I choose whole. Why not, yo? Which do I choose? Question 70 says number 2 or number 1. I choose 2. Question 71, India or Japan? I'll take Japan, sure, why not? That's fine, man. And then, what are other questions for me to answer? Someone asked, was she vaccinated or acutely sick before her symptoms started? She was vaccinated about 3 weeks prior, but these symptoms didn't follow some sort of a tiring sickness like a respiratory illness or diarrhea or something like that, which might in fact be expected if it were to precede a certain symptom that does in fact have the equivalent symptoms as the ones she's experiencing that more fit the description than those of serotonin syndrome, which can be confusing about this entire matter. Because ultimately there's a lot of corollary reasons that all line up, make a very strong circumstantial case. Yeah, I considered that. I talked about that with Rachel as well. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. It's true, this Guillain-Barré syndrome, the symptoms of it more closely match Rachel's symptoms than the symptoms of serotonin syndrome usually are, or do. But the thing is, chess over checkers. Sleep or sex? Probably sleep usually. Sex sometimes. If I'm tired, I'd rather sleep. If I'm horny, I'd rather sex. That's what it boils down to. Yeah, I looked at it, and it does seem to match the symptoms better than anything else. And I think that's what they're testing for right now. But they need to take her blood out. It would be really weird in that it would make all the very strong indicators that this linked somehow to the consumption of Dimitri just coincidental. It's possible, but it seems odd because the close proximity in terms of time to onset of most extreme symptoms of it, etc., etc., etc. It seems like a drug interaction to me. But, you know, if they've got a test for this Guillain-Barré syndrome, I think they're going to be giving it to her right now. But she's still waiting, as far as I know, to get her blood taken out. So, you know, I've been killing time here because I'm not allowed in the hospital because, of course, COVID. Not because I have it or anything. Not because I haven't been vaccinated or anything, but just because I exist. Well, the thing is, Evelyn, it was, this is rather sudden onset. It may have been a more gradual, unnoticed onset, but desktop for sure. But bicycle or motorbike nowadays, bicycle. I mean, the thing is, the worst, the worst bulk of the symptoms. It was like she visited with Dimitri, stood up, puked, and went and lay down and was out. And that was from that point over. It was she was out, and she had done so the night before, and sort of the linkage here is so time specific that yeah, thick. You know, after you're done with this, Joe, you can put it all together, compile all my answers, and call it the Eric Strauss type test. How much like Eric Strauss are you? You could. How much like host Eric are you? And then have people just answer all these questions. My heart is restless with concern. I want to know what will happen to my darling. I want to know what the test will say. Thanks, Evelyn. Have a good day. Starscream? I'll go with Starscream. Are you still waiting for them to take your blood? It's like, it's so frustrating they won't let me in there. Existence. Could you call the hospital and pretend you haven't heard from Rachel and ask them whether the blood test will be completed with results? I could. Might be a good idea. Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck? I guess Mickey Mouse. You know. He doesn't have a speech impediment. I mean, he does. He has a speech impediment that makes him sound like Michael Cera, but other than that, he's relatively easy to understand. All right. Well, can you get up and ask them? I mean, the Flash. You've no reason to conclude that it's possible, but it's certainly not a more likely scenario than the ones that I presented, based on the facts that we have in evidence. Okay, so it it's possible, and it would link up with Guillain Barre, which does sometimes follow certain vaccinations, but to conclude that that's what it sounds like, you'd have to be predisposed to thinking that's what it sounded like. So that would make me not interested in hearing it. It may turn out to be that, but based on all the facts we know, it doesn't sound like that's what it is. Probably muscular or chubby. Mighty Mouse or South Park? South Park. Muscular or chubby? Chubby? Well, I mean, I think it's odd that you're fixated on that linkage that's got 3 weeks between it instead of the linkage of she hit a bunch of Dimitri hard, stood up, puked, and then experienced the bulk of the symptoms. Now, does that actually sound more like? Does it sound more like a reaction to something 3 weeks ago, or does it sound like a reaction to something right then? Much more sounds like the latter. So a realistic, reasonable person wouldn't say it sounds like what you're saying. It may turn out to be like that, but if so, it's not because you were right that it sounds like it. It's because it just happened to be the case. But it definitely doesn't sound like it. California or New York? California. Week or month? Week. Month's too long. Well, cool or cold? Cool. Well, I'm glad you were just stopping by to see how I was doing, if I was making YouTube vids. Well, in the moment, I'm worried about Rachel. That's how I'm doing. She's in a state of physical unwellness, and she's not getting paid attention to at the hospital, and I'm not there to do anything about it. And it's frustrating. Chips. Wyoming or Vermont? Wyoming. Yeah, hopefully she gets better. That's my primary concern at the moment. You know me. I've got plenty to do, plenty to say about plenty of things, and I live my life here on YouTube primarily. Feeling or thinking? Thinking. But you know, it's like being bipolar means it's intuition. Extroversion or introversion? Extroversion? Perceiving or judging? Perceiving. You need to be. Wow, amazing. Did I get it right? Did I get 86 and 77 right? Maybe I got them backwards. Genocide has to be somebody killing everybody. You can't just be people dying from famine. That's famine. Famine is different than genocide, okay? There's a special word for if everybody dies because they have no potatoes. It's called the potato famine. It's not called the potato genocide because potatoes didn't kill you. Your lack of potatoes killed you. ENTP. He's gonna cut to the chase. Okay, you're an ENTP. That was amazing. Yo, you did an amazing job of typing, man. I'm so impressed. Well, I mean, I'm sure there were various factors into why the potato famine killed so many Irish people. I don't doubt that various parties, besides the Irish themselves, could be blamed for their lack of crop diversification. But let's not kid ourselves. The British didn't cause the disease for potatoes that caused the potato famine. You know, they didn't genetically engineer a potato disease. Open. Open like a door of a book, of a store that's open 24/7. Mouse or rat? Mouse. Rachel, is there any way I can facilitate you getting your blood taken out? Have you been able to flag anybody down and ask for some hurry up here? Uh, Teacher, mostly. Student's easier, obviously. Student comes with a lot less FE baggage. But, you know, I can't believe they're just making Rachel just sit there. I mean, there's not a goddamn thing I can do about it because I can't even go inside the fucking building. Rachel, do you need anything like your charger if you're still there? I can bring it over there to you, or food or anything. You don't even have any money with you, do you? What can I bring you to make you more comfortable? If you're still listening. Order. Maybe I should just call Rachel and see if she's needed anything. ISTJ. I mean, the British didn't know, anticipate, or cause the disease that caused the potatoes not to grow right. So you can't really call it a genocide. Alright, maybe I should call Rachel since she's not responding here in this, so let's see what's going on. Maybe I can bring her something, or INFJ.
Hi, it's Rachel. I'm unavailable at the moment.
So that's probably a good sign, I guess, that you can't answer her phone right now. I'm not sure, but maybe she's getting her blood taken finally. The reason you should keep your third eye closed is it holds in your poop. I'll take rice over pasta. Okay, I'm sorry for the Irish. Fuck. Jeez. I can't believe you couldn't figure anything out with all those leprechauns. How many leprechauns do the British have? None. You still couldn't defeat them. With your leprechaun-powered armies. I don't know why. It's the wrong answer, Mac Daddy. You gave the wrong answer. Salt. Okay, fine. Listen, you know about my big feature film plan, Triumph of the Native Peoples, featuring a large-chested blonde adult film bimbo cast in the lead role of Sacagawea, who has to fuck her way across America to lead Lewis and Clark to the promised land of the Oregon Trail. It's called Triumph of the Native Peoples. It's about Sacagawea's struggle to fuck all those dudes. And her ability to finally succeed. It's a heartwarming story of the triumph of the Native Peoples. Taste or smell? Smell? Does SI polar lead to identity crises? I think it does. But I don't think they really ever become understood as such. Because they're SI polar. Does FI polar lead to identity crises? I don't think so. I think FI polar leads to I guess you'd call it existential terror. That's what I experienced with FI polar, is a sense that with fourth slot SI that I'm letting slip away things that are truly important, but not paying attention to them. I'm paying attention to other things. Feathers or hair? I'll go hair. Let's see. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Eric. I'm sorry. I missed your call.
That's fine.
I was taking the urination, so I'm halfway done. They took the blood work, so I just have to wait for the blood work and the urinalysis to get back.
Okay. Well,
So,
did they give you any time frame on that?
no, they didn't. I
Okay.
didn't ask. I should have. I'm sorry.
Well, don't apologize at all, Rachel. But if you do have a chance to see somebody, just ask them, is there any time frame on the results on these tests? And see if they have an answer for you. If you feel like it. If you don't put yourself out, obviously, okay?
No, if I do see someone that I know from like working with them, I will ask.
Alright, cool. So, I'm glad at least you got through the step of actually getting your fluids taken out of you. That's good.
Yes, me too.
Alright, so I'm still streaming, and we're still all here pacing around in the waiting room, wishing you well, and Uh,
Oh, thank you.
so, do you need anything? Like, do you need me to bring you money for food, or for example, your charger or anything?
You know
I
what?
don't think you
Charger
really.
might be.
You want your charger?
It might be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll bring some cash over with me too. So they must have some food place or something to eat in there, right? You probably don't
Yeah,
even
they
have.
have vending machine.
Okay, then yeah, cool. I'll bring you cash and your charger, okay? And I'll give them to the people out front and tell them to take them to you.
Okay. It
Okay,
would be good to see you.
you won't really get to see me, I don't think,
Oh. Well.
because they're not gonna let me in. I'm gonna have to give it to the lady outside,
Oh.
or you can
Oh.
come
I see.
outside and get it maybe, but
But they're probably gonna take it from you. Probably.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll leave here in about 10 or 15 minutes, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, love you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
So, that's what I'm gonna do. Train or bus? Train, give or take. Take, I guess. Is there one more question? There should be one more question. Why have 99 questions when you can have 100? You can't choose both, at least S. That's the point. If you could choose both, it wouldn't be a good question. Here you go, Peter. Sorry, it took me a while to do this. I need some cat food too. You can choose whichever you prefer. Why do you think it's a question about sex? Elise asked. It's a general question about, you know, are you more of a taker or a giver in general in life? Question 100, dove or eagle? Don't you mean dove or hawk? I'll take eagle. Now, tell me what type I am. You've had 100 questions. I'm gonna have to go because I need to take Rachel. I need to go to the ATM, get some cash out, and then. Well, I'm saying, it's not. It's not just about sex, you know. It's about things in general. I know. I'm just saying that question. You don't have to interpret it as being like. I mean, what I'm saying is, when you interpret it as you need to have both for good sex, then it implies that the question is specific to sex. When, oh, ENTP is my type. Wow, Yo-Yo, your test worked perfectly. It's amazing. Okay, regardless, who cares? I'm gonna go do that stuff I gotta do for Rachel. And then I'll be back, and if Rachel's still waiting, I'll probably start live streaming again, so that. Because otherwise, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna sit here and fret, like I said. So for now, goodbye. Have a pleasant evening. And don't forget to eat plenty of cheese, whatever you do. Maybe that's what's wrong with Rachel. She hasn't been eating enough cheese. I'm gonna guess that's it. Goodbye.